Welcome back. As we said before, here it's about changing emotions, and the critical thing to understand is which place are you coming from? You heard me say this before, but this is a great question to inquire about. Which place are you coming from? Which place are you doing those things? And in the same way, like what we said with expression of emotions through sounds and through actions, it's also with changing of emotions. Yes, emotions can be changed. You see, once we see an emotion is just a wave of energy and it's something neutral, something that's not ourself, not part of ourself. It happens within the system, it's kind of registered by consciousness, but it's not part of who we are. Once we see that, we can actually change that, in the same way as you can exchange one screwdriver for another. You see what I mean? It's no personal involvement with that, but when you kind of cling to this one screwdriver, or for the girls watching, the women watching, something else, you see what I mean? When you have like some personal connection with that and you cling to that personally because it means something on the level of identity to you, then you would have trouble exchanging this one screwdriver for another. I don't know why I'm coming up with a screwdriver right now. Anyway, you see what I'm saying? Once the emotions are not part of yourself anymore, you can just switch and exchange them because they don't mean anything to you. But to get to this place, what I see is you really need some deep spiritual realization for that. And it's not kind of first you need to spiritually realize and then you can change your emotion. What I mean by that is to really see that they have nothing to do with your identity. And I believe like in 98% of the people kind of practicing changing their emotions, it comes from the inner attitude of not wanting this emotion. But this is not what life wants you to do. The purpose of the feeling being here right now is to be felt. And not to be run away from. So it's the inner attitude that matters. Which place am I coming from? Oh, there's this emotion that doesn't serve me, I don't want that, so that's why I'm changing that. Or is the inner attitude rather one of inspiration, in the sense of, I know it's just one more emotion and it doesn't have anything to do with me anyway. It's just something that's registered in my system in the same way as kind of wind is registered by my skin. So I can change it. Not a problem. But for that, we really need to first have gotten the lesson of what the emotion is actually pointing to. And the person who is really able to change the emotion is the person who would be willing to feel everything. Once you're able to actually feel everything that there is, then, changing emotions really works for you. And what I mean by changing the emotion, for example, when you feel like you're deep down somewhere and you kind of feel sadness overcoming you, or you feel frustrated, or you feel jealous to somebody, I'm always using the same emotions, but pick your own, when you feel those emotions, and what was the point right now? Which place are you coming from? When you don't want to feel them, and in this way, you change your emotions into thinking about something else. Use your positive imagination, your positive thinking, your great outlook to life to kind of give you the kicks of inspiration and like creativity again. It can happen, but first of all, I believe it's the best practice for every one of us to first feel everything that there is. And once those things are kind of felt through and we have like a great access to our emotions, then we can start to kind of change them, because otherwise it just becomes manipulation for the sake of running away. And this is not what life wants us to do. Life wants us to face those things that are there, because that's why we're seeing those, because there's something in us to heal. And when we constantly run away by wanting to feel better, we can create a lot of suffering. So yes, changing does work, but I do not recommend putting the focus on kind of pulling you out, rather than letting you drop into the emotion without dwelling. But that's important. Without dwelling is using the emotion to fill your needs, or to make life easier for you, or to gain like relief or happiness or something like that. It's not that. It's not dwelling on the emotion. It's rather letting you drop into the emotion and feel it through. That's what I mean by that. So yeah, it doesn't come from a place of unacceptance, and also the escape always comes back to us. We can't avoid that. So first we learn to accept, and then we can learn to change. Because the only reason why you would change your emotions actually is because of one of two reasons. Either you want to feel better, or B, because it's the best for other people and like your mission in the world. That's what I at least see. or something that is meaningful to you, because you know this emotion is just based on confusion or something that is untrue. But as soon as you still see and think like this emotion is part of me, like I feel that, let yourself drop into the emotion and feel it through. And then change happens automatically once the emotion passes. This is one thing. Also, we uncover kind of fulfillment, the deeper sentiment underneath, which oftentimes doesn't happen when we just change our emotions. We're just going from this spark and negative emotion back to the happiness, and this. We're never restful. Once we let the things settle, it's like the water, the old kind of proverb, kind of once the dirt settles, you see it clearly. And that's exactly what it is. So yes, that's it on emotional change of emotions. And now we go back to the formula and how to apply that in your life practice.